Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Tech Talk Live. Today, let's recap what's happened with the YC over the last few Tech Talk Lives. Well, one thing is we did the organ section already, which was very cool. And let's see, the next one we did was the keys section, right? So we've done the organ section, the keys section. Well, today I kind of want to bring it all together and talk a little bit about splits and layers and some of the things that you can do just with the YC, setting it up with different splits and layers and configurations, using some effects and so on. There's some really neat stuff that you can do. So the first thing I kind of wanted to do here is just maybe show you a few of the configurations that I've kind of come up with using different setups with splits, with layers, with setting controllers to do certain things. It's really cool, very easy to set this instrument up and get really great sound. So the first one that I just started here was just this, this is just the CFX piano here. And in the left hand, what I did was I put an upright bass and the H1 organ down in the left hand here in octaves. And it's just a cool sound. It's kind of like that the 70s, action shows. Now the piano goes all the way across the keyboard, so that's basically a layer with a split down here in the left hand with keys B and the H1 organ. So one way you can set it up is that way right there. Now you notice also the piano. So the piano does respond to sustain pedal, but the other guys do not. Now I thought about maybe cutting the sustain pedal off the piano, but I'm going to show you how to do all of that stuff so you can kind of configure things the way you want. So if you don't want the split to respond to sustain, you can set it up to do that. It's very cool, very awesome. So there's one kind of cool live set sound. Another one is just a simple this is just a simple layer, C7 with slow strings. Now, the thing I love about this instrument is that instantly, if I want to turn down the strings layer, I can see it right in the screen. Slow strings, I can turn it down just like this. Well, let's say I don't want to have to deal with that, and I just would like to maybe use this a secondary expression pedal. Well, it's really easy to set that up. What I want to do is just set just that control, which is volume for keys B, to the expression pedal. Really easy to do that. I'll show you how to do it right now. Go into settings, right? And that's under controllers, actually. Controllers right here. And it has things like bend lever, modulation lever, foot controller 1, foot controller 2. Well, let's take a look at foot controller 2. That is where I have this second expression pedal. And I can just touch a sign here. And right now, oops, I don't want to go to, I want a sign limit. Right now it's set to pedal wah, which is cool. So if I turn on a wah-wah effect, it's already set up to do that. But what if I want to assign it to that volume? How do you do that? Well, simple. Just select it here and move that controller that you want to set it to, and it's done. See? Now it's moving. You see right there? Pretty cool. So if I want to... I can just bring it in if I want. Maybe I like it right there. Pretty cool. I'm going to take you through all the ways that you can set this up later on in this live stream. But for now, I think it's cool just to see these things, to see how you can set things up. So easy to do this stuff. with the YC. If I like this, how I like it set up here, it's just a matter of me just touching store and saving to that position. Now, when I pull up that live set, that configuration is stored specifically to that live set. Does that mean that the expression pedal that I set is going to function the same way in the next live set? No, it's live set specific because it's under that settings area. It's not a global setting. It's really flexible. So check it out. See, it's saved like that. If I go to another one, which I'm going to go to in a second, and I'll come back just to show you that it's, see, I'm moving that, it's not touching that section B there, but if I go back to my original one, I've saved it there. It saves per live set to customize it for your music, gig, whatever you're doing. Hey, how about I show you another one here? This one I just call, I have two of them, the Pad of Crom, because what Crom was, that I got that from the Conan the Barbarian, the '82 movie with Schwarzenegger. Crom, that was like the god I guess they prayed to. Crom. But a great name, huh? So the Pad of Crom, what this is, hear all that stuff? Okay, this is actually a triple layer. All three, all the way across. One of the configurations you can set up in the YC. So Pad of Crom, I'll turn everybody off. First we'll start with the FM organ over here. So that's just the F1 organ, the sine wave organ, with very little drawbarge pulled down here. You can see I don't have it up very much. I just have the upper drawbar. So I'm kind of using this as kind of a trippy pad effect. I have it routed over here. If you go over to the effects section over here, you can see you can set it to organ, keys A, and key B. So you can independently set this up. I call that my utility effect, and it's also where the looper delay exists, where it sends to all of the sections, which I'll show you that at the end here, because that's one of my favorite things about the YC is the flexibility that I have in doing cool stuff with loop. If you've ever seen any of my videos, you've seen me do this before. Anywho, I have this set here to go through the VCM flanger 2. And there's no reverb because I do have independent reverb sends right here. Keys A, keys B. That's all of them if I want to send all reverb to everybody at the same time, or just the organ. You notice that I have it to 0 here. So let's turn that one off. Now I'll turn on nowhere here. Now this one is cool because it doesn't actually respond until you play. And why is that? How is that working there? That's glorious. I love that sound. Why do I love that sound? Well, because I'm using these effects on this, what's called nowhere. Now let me turn off these effects so you hear what it sounds like. Totally different sound. It's kind of a pre-filter sweepy pad that's in the synth section here. But boy, you engage these two effects. One of them is the lo-fi effect, and the other one is the reversed reverb effect. And this is cool because you can set the depth and the rate, which is what I've done here. Let me turn off the lo-fi effect so you just hear the reversed reverb. Now, because I've increased the depth and rate all the way, it takes the dry signal out. So all you hear is the affected signal. That's awesome. I love. Seriously, I get blown away. I spend hours with this instrument, and I still get blown away by it. It's just, it's fun. I hope I didn't turn everything down. Now I'm going to turn on just the lo-fi effect. So I have a little depth and a tiny bit of rate here. It definitely lo-fi's it up. If I turn this rate up, you can grunge it up pretty seriously here. But you find your kind of sweet spot in there. I can increase the depth of it if I want, so it really... But I just like just a touch of it in here, coupled with this effect. Okay, so let's combine. Did I already go through the analog pad? I did not. So I wanted to have just a pad in there that's pretty straightforward. It just has a compressor on it, a little bit of reverb on it. So you combine them all together. And then you turn on the... So a triple layer using the effects that are in this instrument. And, you know, the effects that they give you is 32 effects per each of these effects sections. The effect here, the insert effect, 2 section effects for each section. So A has 2 effects, B has 2 dedicated effects, your utility effect. That's basically it. But you have some really great choices in here. Everything from reverbs to delays and phasers and flangers, but these reverse reverb, lo-fi effects, it's pretty awesome. So that's the pad of Crom, the pad of Kalis, Kalis being the, I believe, the Klingon warrior. I am a nerd. But, so the pad of Kalis. Kalis. That's such a great name. This one's kind of a similar one where I use the F3 organ in this regard. So F3 is generally the Italian organ or whatever. Now, what I love about the F3 organ is that because the actual, that sound of that organ has more of a buzzy sound to it, it's more of a sawtooth waveform. You think sawtooth waveform. What if I had a low-pass filter? Hey, look at this, low-pass filter, LF, that I've assigned in that utility effect to this sound. So I have cutoff frequency and resonance for the rate and depth of this effect. So check it out. Now all of a sudden, what do I have? I have a cool bass. Nice sounding filter too. This is like a VCM filter, So there's my low end for the pad of Kalis. Good Klingon low end sound. Good Klingon. That's kind of a jazz Klingon. Jazz Klingon. So there's with an analog pad associated to it, and that is just straight up pad. Didn't turn on any effects on that one. And then here you go. Here's the Noble pad. Let me turn off these guys so you just hear the Noble pad, just with a little compressor on it, and notice that I have it set at an octave. So the Noble pad and the analog pad here with none of the F organ in here. So I have these. You have independent octave settings. You can do a lot with that too. You can kind of take a pad, set them in octaves, get some cool. Here's if they were not at octaves. Here they are with the octave. Put that low FM organ in there. Man, this little YC can put out some serious sonic horsepower. Yeah, it's just killer. So I covered this one last time. I'm going to cover it again. I just kind of briefly touched on it, but it was when we uploaded a lot of the sonic demos for the YC to our SoundCloud account. We watch and see how many people listen to stuff, and this was one of the big hits, the Spanish steel sound in here. Now, part of it is just because the guitar sound itself is a great guitar sound, and I think I played something. Nice little guitar sound. Now what I want to do with this one is I wanted to add some sort of a pad sound, and what did I choose? I chose actually the sine wave lead sound and took it off of a mono deal because I just thought it was a really pretty, especially when you run it through C4. Here, let me turn off the effects so you can hear just here's very straight up sine wave kind of pad. Nice sound, very organ sounding actually. But now I turn on the 816 chorus, which simulates the chorus from the TX816, which was a great chorus, what with 8 DX7s. So that fills it out a bit, and then I added this tremolo sound to give it some motion. Tremolo, you usually use it on an electric piano, but it works great on a pad. Okay, so here's the, now before I bring in the Spanish steel, I want to show you what I did with the FM organ. I use F1 sine wave or another sine wave sound. and I turned on the sustain for the organ. Just to show you how I did that, again, settings, controllers, receive switch, right? So settings, controller, receive switch, and I go down here to sustain, and you see organ, and see I have it turned on. Now usually it would default to off, but in this case I wanted to set it up as a pad, so I just turned on the receive switch for the sustain controller. Simple. How many button pushes with that? Like 2? It's easy to get to stuff. Easy to get down into the settings in here. Well, it's a little more than 2, but it's easy because it's all in that same space. So, dig. So now I'll turn on the... Okay, now, here's this with this deal. But isn't that a cool sound? Kind of a, you know, I don't know how to explain that sound. A guitar, new agey, jazzy thingy. I don't know. Well, you hear that? I just turned on the organ. You can hear got a little background noise in there because I have the background noise on here. This is just a simple split. You know, you want to play a gig? Left, right kick. I'm working on that. I need to be a better organist. But that's your straight up left, right split. So this is a good thing to point out. Now I'm going to cover this again. I'm going to circle back through here and show you this. But the split point, there's a single split point in this instrument. And the organ can be itself split between left and right if I want it to be that way, which I do have it set up here as an organ split, where the left is down here. And you can see the lower drawbars here are set for just the 16-foot and the 8-foot. Some people just go with just the 16. I like kind of bringing the 8 into it. Gives it a little bit more in the low end, right? And then the upper drawbars out here are your 3 down. I think I have a little bit of the 4-foot drawbar right here too. Now, if I'm kicking bass, wouldn't it be nice if I could engage? See the see it turning on and off here? So I could kind of do that, but it's so nice to be able to assign a foot switch. Again, settings, controllers, receives, where is it again? No, it's not there. Sorry. For this one, you set the foot switch. It's a global control. You can set that in control panel. Oh, boy. Where is it again? I think I just dropped into stupid for a moment. Keyboard pedal, right? Oh. Yes. Foot switch assign. Yes. See where I have it set here? 85. You assign it the same way. You just literally touch on whatever you want to assign it to, boom, and it's right there. So the foot switch is always global. It's kind of a thing with Yamaha stuff. Same thing in the, I'm pointing over here at my white montage that's sitting here. Same thing in there. Foot switch is assigned at the global level. So that's how I assigned it there. So you do have the ability to turn on and off the rotary speaker with a foot switch when you want your kick and bass. What I'm doing there, if you can dig. I think you can. Show you a few more before I kind of dive in a little bit more here. So that's pretty cool. Again, I have the sustain pedal set for just the split here. So this is a split A and B section. Analog lead pad is what this is called. And the lead sound is set to mono, done in settings, sound, key A settings, mono poly. Mono, see? So I've set that to a monophonic and then turned off sustain. You saw me do that earlier. And then keep the sustain for the pad sound over in my left hand. And you'll notice that if you see here, key A, there's the classic mini sound is what the synth is in here. If you I love that I have a little bit of control over the filter if I need it, because we have the single knob filter control right there. And then the analog pad here is set to an octave higher. So, you know, I have a bass player in my mind with this sound, right? Pretty cool, huh? Real simple, just pad, 2 keys, no organ involved in this one. And then the last one I want to show you before I kind of take you through some of the setups here, because I have these cool setups that Hans-Peter Hinkel provided for me, and they're so cool that I just like how to fill this out graphically, to just circle back and tell you sort of what you just saw in graphic format here. You'll see. But the last thing I want to show you here is what I call the mean FM machine. So the mean FM machine is everything in here is using the FM. So I have this FM Urban EP, which just sounds like this. I'm going to turn off the effects here. And it's set an octave higher. But the thing that's cool about this, again, F1, I have the VCM flanger set to this one with extreme depth and very slow rate. So it's kind of this trippy sound. Okay, now, if I turn on the second one, R3 reverse reverb, you know I'm loving my reverse reverb sound. So I have the depth quite a ways up, but I still get the attack. So that's just one sound. The second sound here is an FM synth lead that I have a low pass filter, VCM effect, and distortion. So you combine those two together. It's kind of like this, that FM sound is chasing. Now I have this set to split. Right? Yes. Now I'm going to turn this down so you hear I have the F3 organ again. You know I love that F3 organ through the low pass filter, one of my favorite go-to sounds. Depth and rate. I think I messed up last time. Anyway, check it out. Mean FM machine. Boy, that's just a lot of sound. I just like playing with some cool stuff there. Gosh. Anyway, so let's talk about some of these setups real quick. Since I have this cool graphic and I'm up in the corner there. What are the different ways that you can set things up? Well, you have an upper and a lower. Keys A and B. This is your straight up layer full keyboard. You've seen that before. I had that set up here with, let's bring back the Spanish steel. That's the one right here. Totally. That is the, you know. And when you look in the screen here, you get an indication that everything is set up in layer because you have sort of a left-right icon next to the sound. So it says organ, A, and B. Those are the key sections, right? And because I have the two little dots next to that that indicate this, I can see at a glance that it's layered. You can also look on the instrument itself and see when you have something selected. If left and right is on, that means that it is set for layer. If I touch, I'm on keys B now. Right now, you see in the screen now that B now splits down here, or it splits up there when I'm in keys B, or I have it layered, right? So that's one of the configurations, is just straight up layer it, and you have separate octave controls again, and you have some effects settings that you can do some pretty cool stuff with for experimentation or otherwise. You saw this earlier. This is just your split one is what this is called. So in split one, what you have is organ left, lower manual, upper manual, organ right. You saw that with the split keys in the organ sound that I played at the beginning here. Let's move on, or I will run out of time. So here, in this configuration, which you saw me do this earlier, key A and key B can be set as a split here. So we call this split layer 1 is what this is called. And the organ can function down here as a layered sound as well. So keys A, organ down in the left hand, keys B up here. You know what? Since we're looking at it, how about we just set one up right now to show you how that works here. It's super simple. Let's just go and I'll just grab something very simple to start with. Just we'll use the F1 Testify sound. So this is literally just the organ. Right now, it is set for a split. So how do I get rid of that? Well, I'm going to go over here to the split point here. And I'm going to have the lower manual set here, right? And my split point. How do you set a split point? You literally touch on the button, and you've selected it there. Split point set. So I set the split point at C in that regard, right? Now, let's turn on, I think I had keys A, right? Well, keys A, it's set for the right here, so I want to move it over to the left because we do have a split in here. So now, so that's the fabulous U1. Hey, let's make that U1 go an octave lower. So there's nothing up here because everything's split right now on the left. And then lastly, what you want to do is turn on the B key section, and we'll make sure that that one. Now check this out. Here's something that's interesting. I have the U1 sound selected. I'm going to bring it up to, but it's set so the upright bass is in keys B and it's down here. And maybe what I really want is the U1 up here and the upright bass. So how do I quickly change that? Do I have to go through here and do it? No, you know, if you just touch exit and hold it, right? And then just touch the keys A and B, see what happened there? Maybe it's hard to see it with mine. Hoppe has a much better camera than me. I'm working on it. But you can see in the screen here that what happened here was it switched the position of where keys A and B are now. So if I want B now to be the piano up here, now the bass, because I just, again, exit B's, that's how you switch the position of what's in keys B to what's in keys A, and so on. It's in the manual. It's one of the things on my to-do list is to put up the shortcuts from the manual up so you guys can see them all and have a nice quick reference for them. It's very cool. There's a bunch of them. There are lots of exit, touch something to shift things around. For example, right here, you see how I have D1, which I believe is distortion one, right? British combo, and then low pass. Well, what if I want to switch the configuration of the effects here? Because these effects run in series. D1 goes into low pass filter. What if I want to go low pass filter into D1 the other way? Exit, touch the effect. There it goes. See? Just switched them. Switch. Little shortcuts. Nice shortcuts. There's some thinking people at YCJ, that Yamaha Corporation of Japan, who thought through this quite well, I must say. Let's see. Okay, here's another one here. This one would be organ in the lower, keys A and B layered in the top. Another way, a split layer in that configuration. That's a pretty cool one as well. You also have here keys A and B in the left and the organ in the top. Again, you have a single split point in this instrument, but you have some ability to move things around on how you want them to be configured in for your music, you know? Now, I have some stuff that I've already set up to show these things, and I'll just do it very quickly. So the first one here, right? Let me go back one. Okay, the first one here is electric piano in the left. Hold on, I'm going to bring up my live set that illustrates this exact thing. This is called split one. So split one, example one. In this case, so you have keys A and B, electric piano and pad, and then some sort of an organ sound. And I've set these up an octave so I can use them for comping. Pretty cool. So one way to work to do this configuration, you have it right there in front of you. And I just showed it to you. I should move to the next one. How about this one here? In this configuration, and I have this set in a live set as well, you have the organ set for the lower area, right? And then you have keys A and B set up as a brass section. So in this case, I chose sforzando brass and just brass one. have this set. So in this case, you saw how I configured controllers earlier? Well, I have just the expression controlling. I also have my foot switch controlling fast and slow, right? But I'm not controlling the expression for the brass section here. But I do have a little bit of motion because I chose that Sforzano brass. So I have some kind of stuff like that I can use, but really cool configuration for that. I can totally see how this would be useful on a gig. Last one I'll show you here. In this one, string section and organ in the upper lower, and in the upper up here on the split. So this is another split layer configuration. What we have in this one is this. How about I change key? That nice chromatic harmonica, that Toots Thielemann sound. And then this one has marcato strings and H1 in the left. And monophonic. Same thing here. Where I have the expression controlling the left, but not the right. Configurations. So cool. Hey, let's take a look at some other things here. I'm going to try and get to the quality. I may miss it this time because I'm running a little bit late here. But if you want to ask a question, next week we're going to be covering MIDI settings. I will look at the questions before we go here. Next week we're going to look at the MIDI settings. So if you have questions about MIDI settings and MIDI setups, controller things, we're going to cover that next week and talk about how to configure that. One of the cool things about this instrument is that it does have 4 zones in here that are selectable for controlling external instruments. The instrument itself sends and receives all the sections on one MIDI channel. But you do have, when you're controlling, you have the ability to really set this up to do some really neat stuff. So I just want to be clear that's what it's about. So if you have any questions specifically about the MIDI settings on the YC next week, go up there. Take the question survey. There's the link right there, and ask the question for next week. YamahaSynth.com. If you have any questions that you'd like to go into the forum and ask, please go there, YamahaSynth.com. We have lots of stuff up there as well. I'm working on finishing a few articles this week, but I did put some articles up last week. One of them was, I believe, MIDI settings in the YC that you can take a look at. What we're covering next week, I wanted to get that up before next week's Tech Talk Live. So YamahaSynth.com, link in the description there. Idea Scale, got an idea? Hey, join the Idea Scale forum. You know what? Here's something for you. We had a meeting yesterday where we talked about this exact thing with Ben Israel, who is the guy who's content research and development lead, I guess, boss, manager, something like that. Anyway, we have meetings with him to talk about these things. We actually look at this stuff so that we can figure out how we can get these ideas that are cool, that are actionable in front of our developers at YCJ, Yamaha Corporation Japan. There it is right there. Idea Scale, the link's in the description. The music production guide, please. This is such a cool guide. If you are not hip to this, and this is the first time here on the live stream, please go up there, go to that link, sign up for the music production guide. You have 10 years of music production guides. What is this? It's a cool, professionally put together guide that's a PDF that you can print out, that looks amazing when you print it out, but it looks good just on the computer, that has tons of great articles. This is done, Hans-Peter Hinkel has a lot to do with this. It is in conjunction with Easy Sounds. Join, go there on the link. You need to check it out. It's pretty awesome if you haven't seen it. It's really cool. Hey, look, SoundCloud.com, Yamaha Synth. Last week we put up Bro Paul Brown of the Waterboys. Used to play with Isaac Hayes. from Memphis, Tennessee, one of the coolest podcasts. Didn't think we could do better with that one. Well, guess what? Well, it's not better. It's an amazing second artist. I'm not even going to tell you who it is, but it'll come up very soon. You'll want to go check it out. It's a long interview with one of our artists that we spent an hour with, and we really didn't talk much about product. What we talked about was just concepts, thinking about music, thinking about all sorts of things. It was really a great podcast. Please like and subscribe to our SoundCloud at Yamaha Synth and check out Behind the Synth. We'll be number 47 when I release that one tomorrow that I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's one of our artists, and it's worth checking out because it was quite illuminating. Made me feel very happy. Hey, look, there's just me. You know what? Hold the phone for 1 second. See, I'm still here. Now I have to get this because I want to check out these questions because I want to see which one I'm going to answer for today. Okay? Let me find it here. It's right here in front of me in a secret folder. Coming to ya on a dusty road. Good lovin'. I've got a truckload. Okay, here we go. Some of the questions. So there was a question that came up, and I didn't know the answer to it. It's from Roger. I'm talking to Roger, if you're seeing this. And it had to do with the acceleration, deceleration range of the numbers of the rotary speaker. And you know what? I don't know, and I have asked Yamaha Japan about that. We will get you that question of what they really mean on what they're about and how to set them up. And I definitely have seen some of the comments that you had in the Idea Scale forum. We're definitely following it. So let me get back to you on that one, though, what the numbers are as far as the slow and fast for the rotary speaker settings. But I did see that. There's someone that asked, can you help me with splitting sounds and layering sounds on the Motif ES? That's from Michael. You know, probably not in this, but this is why we have Yamaha Synth. Yamaha Synth is the best place to go up there and ask that question. Can somebody help me split and layer on the ES7? I can tell you this, it's in performance mode. That's where you want to be. So if you want to do something like a split with a bass and a piano, you'd want one of the voices to be in part 1 of the performance and another one in part 2 of the performance. I can tell you that. That's an older instrument. That's back about 13 years, and I do not have one in front of me, but I do know how our stuff works, and that is where you'd set that up. It's in part edit, and you can set ranges there for splitting, and you can layer there. You can have control over the volumes of each individual part. And then, of course, you have the faders, 4 of them, actually, on the Motif ES to control the part volume for each of that. So it's pretty cool. You can definitely set that up. Let's see. The last one, I think I answered this last week, but I'm gonna answer it again. I love my YC61. In fact, I did bring it up, but I know what happened. My audio dropped out when I was answering it. So you didn't really hear me answer your question, which you're going to hear right now. I would like to use the drawbars as MIDI controllers for computer soft synth. Is this possible? I would ask you to go to YamahaSynth.com and then go to SoundCloud and like and subscribe just because you're cool. But who are you anyway? I saw your name there. I saw your name as Jeff. Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Yes, you can. The reason why I'm telling you to go to YamahaSynth.com is to go to Dom Segalis' video from the NAMM show this year, 2020, and he does this with Cubase, and it's awesome. He does stuff where he automates the drawbar, so there's that. But you want to know if you can control a soft synth? Yeah, you can, because every single thing on the front of this YC sends out MIDI controller information. And if you have any today modern DAW, it's pretty easy to assign control to a virtual instrument inside the DAW to do that, to customize it. I wouldn't really change so much here. I would do it in there, but it works awesome. You can use all the drawbars to control filters or whatever of soft synth. It's super cool. Anyway, so I answered some questions here today. Whoever was here today, I don't know who's here, but I know there were people here. Thank you so much for watching live. If you're watching this not live, thank you for watching. And next week, we're going to cover MIDI controller settings on the YC. Thank you so much for watching Tech Talk Live here at Yamaha Synth on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great one.